Joining us now is royal editor for the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Russell, we know the royal family isn't short of a quid, but some enlightening reporting this week about the wealth of the family whales. How much are they worth and how is it quantified?
Well, great to see you again. I mean, comes up every so often about how much money the royal family are worth. Are they worth, the £1.50, the $3 that the British public pay for them? However, this is quite interesting because, how much are Kate and William worth? And it seems as though people are quantifying it from sort of money brought in from William's ventures now with the Duchy of Cornwall, the land that they own, all the plush houses. And you know what? It's over £1 billion. My math is about $1.5 billion. I mean, that is absolutely staggering when you think about it, that neither of them have had, huge careers where they've worked for any long period of time. I know, of course, William was a former air pilot and worked in the sort of air rescue. However, in today's society, cost of living crisis ongoing, are we getting what we deserve from William and Kate? And I think that's it's pretty much up for debate for a lot of people at the moment.
And here in Australia, that's 2 billion Aussie dollars. Now, more conjecture this week around the invites to royal family events. The Times is reporting that the Sussexes haven't been invited to Balmoral for Christmas. Is that the case? Can you fill us in?
Well, it's interesting. There's been a lot of briefing and counter-briefing going on over the last few weeks. And this started with the fact that, King Charles's birthday just a few days ago, big party at Clarence House. Was Harry invited? Wasn't he invited? And another report said that he wasn't. Then his team hit back, said, listen, he wasn't invited. He would have potentially gone had he been. And then we heard about a call from Harry to his father on his birthday. So, what is the state of a relationship? My understanding is that the invitations haven't even been sent out necessarily to everybody for Christmas. So, listen, I think that Harry and Charles's relationship has the possibility of green shoots, cementing a newfound relationship for the pair of them. However, it's been a long time since they've spoken, many, many months properly. And this could be the start of something new. But I think for the King, certainly, he would be potentially worried that any conversations he's had with Harry will end up in the public domain. And you can't blame him, can you? Because we've had the Oprah Winfrey interview. We've had the book Spare that was coming out of Harry's memoir. So I think that there'll be a lot of nervousness at the camp if Harry was around. And I don't think this Christmas will be the moment.
And in a similar vein to that, the New York Post is reporting that Harry's fed up with missing royal milestones. So how much is it that the Sussexes aren't invited? How much is it that they're choosing not to attend?
Well, that's a good question, because I'm sure he is fed up of missing things. I mean, he's got two young children who don't know his father, their grandfather. They don't see Meghan's father as well, so their only grandparent that they spend time with is Doria, which is Meghan's mother. And Harry is cut adrift out in the US. He's trying to make a success out of it. They've had a few business ventures that haven't gone to play. And so he's in a bit of a difficult situation. I'm sure he does miss his family. He said it himself before in those interviews that he gave for his book, that he wants to bring his family to the table. He's seeking an apology from them, which I don't think will be forthcoming, certainly not from his brother, Prince William. So I'm sure that he would want to be engaged in those family events once more. There's definitely a period that he feels that this could be the time for repairing of a relationship with his father. But I suppose there's a bit of time that needs to elapse before that can happen.
Now, Omid Scobie, who's a royal commentator, he's also the author of a book named Endgame. He has said that Harry and Meghan need to establish a purpose going forward. Look, to be honest, I think there are a few people who would disagree with that. It would also lead to a lot less questioning about their future. What are your thoughts?
Well, very much so. I think, a lot of people have been saying that, and they would probably say that themselves, that since moving to America, their whole purpose was to establish themselves, become financially independent, was the phrase that they used when they left the royal family. And that in turn meant earning millions of dollars in order to pay for their security, pay for their lifestyle that they'd become accustomed to, whilst working with, the big boys like Netflix, Spotify, Harry getting a job as some wellness director for some tech companies. And this is the problem for them, that I don't think they have necessarily found their purpose. It hasn't really worked out in the sort of streaming sphere for them. Meghan's Disney show was panned or canned before it even got off the ground. So what is the next stage for them? Certainly we've seen some discussions, we think, between some different tech companies in the US. Perhaps Meghan getting back into presenting. I mean, we saw her earlier this week saying that they had exciting projects in the pipeline. So, yes, I think 2024 is going to be a big year for the royals. I think we're going to see some more international travel, a lot more collaboration between them, and it could be a big year for Harry and Meghan as well.
And apparently Harry's close bond with Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie is considered a bit of an issue for the royal family. Now, look, they've been very close for a very long time. It can hardly be surprising. What are your thoughts?
Well, when it was all coming on top for Harry, certainly Eugenie was his only ally in the camp, and he's very, very close to her. They've had a very, very close relationship for many, many years. Growing up, they were always the closest, and I think that with that severance of the relationship between his brother, his old pal, sparring partner, and Eugenie was really one to lend a shoulder for him. And we've seen her travelling over to California. She's been there a couple of times. Harry made a stop over to Portugal when he was over in Europe with Meghan to see her new baby. And I suppose for Harry, it's decent that he still has an ally in the camp, because nobody was spared from the sort of barbs from his from his memoir. And so maybe Eugenie is possibly the go-between for to mend those relationships between his father and his brother. I mean, certainly Harry, it seems, does want to mend those relationships moving forward.
Now, in a recent interview, Meghan has admitted that she enjoys a mum's night out. That's not punishable by death as yet, Russell. It's good to see her being a little bit lighthearted. Look, I don't know if we necessarily read anything into that, but it's good to see her being relatable.
Yeah, you know what? I think Meghan and Harry have taken themselves too seriously for a long time. And Meghan, we saw her out on the red carpet. She was at the Variety Awards during the week, and she seems to be enjoying herself a bit more. I mean, she was pretty relaxed. They were asking her questions about her Thanksgiving coming up. They were asking her questions about the projects in the pipeline, and she said, "There's a lot in the pipeline. We're excited. We're working on things. Me and my husband have got big announcements to make." And you hope, I think, most people think, that there will be a period where they sort of find their groove, because the mudslinging that has been constant over the last few years, as I said, the Oprah Winfrey interviews, the constant PR junkets that they were doing to publicise their books and the Netflix series, and mentioning the royal family, that is certainly not what Harry and Meghan want. It's certainly not what the royal family want. And if Harry and Meghan do want a relationship with the royal family, then it's definitely not going to be down that path. And so let's wait and see what happens for them. I do think that next year is going to be a big year for both sides of the family.
Now, Meghan has also said she's got a slate of new plans. Let's have a look.
What is the thing that is, driving the work that you're going to put out into the business?
Things that make people feel, I was going to say good, but it's more than that. Things that make people feel something, right? And feel a sense of community. But we have so many exciting things on this slate. I can't wait until we can announce them. But I'm just really proud of what we're creating. My husband is loving it too.
Russell, what's being pitched?
Well, I'd like to know, because there's a lot of discussion in Hollywood and even this side of the pond as well about what has been pitched. I mean, the reputation isn't great at the moment. They lost their £30 million Spotify deal. The Netflix deal is looking pretty shaky. Some reports this week to say that Netflix are ready to cut and run from that deal. That was £100 million. I mean, as you said, it works out about $200 million for that deal with Netflix. Now, if those were to falter, then their reputation isn't great in Hollywood or the streaming space, the tech space. So what do they have in the pipeline? I mean, I thought Meghan was thinking on her feet with that question, to be honest, and whether there are big projects in the pipeline. I think more next year is going to be a period of looking towards where they want to go long term, the charity work, the possibly wellness space for Meghan, not necessarily working with the big tech giants. We've seen that didn't necessarily work. it got off to a faltering start. Even Harry's Invictus show with Netflix, very, very worthy, but didn't really get the plaudits and the ratings it deserves. So perhaps, looking outside the box for Harry and Meghan will be a better plan for them.
Now, lastly, the Mirror's reported this week that the royal children go to school on Saturday. Can you tell us why that is?
Well, I know it's, they're only young, and it seems quite a lot to go for 6 days a week. But at Lambrook, the school that they're at, they're preparing Prince George to potentially go to Eton. That's why Princess Kate wasn't in Singapore with Prince William. She was helping him prepare for exams. But Lambrook is a fantastic school, fee-paying, but, incredible facilities. And it seems as though those facilities are what the children are enjoying on Saturdays. They go to school full day, to play sport, to be amongst the sort of facilities in the tech and sporting arena that they have. And it must be a pretty tiring week, because I wouldn't fancy going to school 6 days a week.
Russell Myers, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. My pleasure.